and welcome to the Nightly Nuge, which we are debunking. We are debunking myths today. I love the flag guitar, Ted, because this is the 236th anniversary of what again?
We have some custom autographed guitars that have unlimited mojo. I got to tell you, go to toby@tednugent.com. That's an email address. toby@tednugent.com. And we just signed this guitar, the amazing Fred Bear 35th anniversary mural guitar. We have a flame-throwing middle finger Epiphone guitar that I autographed. We also have a great white buffalo guitar. Tim's got these images, he can show them. But go to actually, you have to go to toby@tednugent.com. toby@tednugent.com. And yes, that is a flag guitar, and I've sold a lot of those raising money for charities, and it proves that I am the blood brother of the heroes of Delta Force, the Navy SEALs, the Army Rangers, the Green Berets, the U.S. Army, the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Coast Guard, the United States Marine Corps. These are my blood brothers that I share campfires with pretty much on a regular basis. Marcus Luttrell calls me, and he calls me to tell me that I inspire him. And Marcus Luttrell says I'm his hero because I fight for the freedoms that their brothers died for. That's my patriotism in spades. So today we're going to talk about on the Nightly Nuge as we completely eviscerate the false accusations against me where people claim I dodged the draft and I'm a coward, and we can get into the gory details of that today on the Nightly Nuge.
Yeah, and I want to, Ted, but I'm going to ask you as a friend, would you donate one of those signed flag guitars for an event that I'm speaking at on October 5, 2023 at the Trump National Golf Club? And my fellow speakers include John Solomon and your recently acquitted Ken Paxton, Attorney General of Texas, and a number of other people, Tom Holman, who was the former Border Security DHS. Would you donate that guitar?
Yes, and these guitars, these are personally autographed guitars, and you can get them at toby@tednugent.com, toby@tednugent.com. But I donate these all the time. I put my autograph on them. They have some flame-throwing mojo, and they sound good. Does that sound good on the night?
It sounds great. And while Ted's playing, go to johnsteubens.com, and you can get all the information on the event. We'll put the link up here. I'd love to see you there. Obviously, great news for Ken Paxton down in Texas. And Ted, did you, just ask it just plainly, did you or did you not dodge the draft?
Well, I did dodge the draft because I didn't get drafted, but I didn't do anything to dodge the draft. I went down for my physical. And you have to realize the accusations based on an interview with a stoned idiot in High Times magazine. I guess I would propose, who would get meaningful information in life from the High Times magazine? I was so used to doing interviews with these doped up, drooling, idiot, hippie, so-called journalists that they never got the names of the member of the Amboy Dukes right. They never got the date right. They never got the song titles right. They never got my guitar. They called my guitar an ES335. I play a Birdland. Everybody knows I play a Birdland. So they never got anything right, and I was starting to get pissed off because I love the music. I love the fire of my bands, and the interviewers and the writers never got anything right, and I find that very rude and disrespectful. So eventually I started doing interviews and just started having fun with them. In fact, typically in the Amboy Dukes era and on with the Ted Nugent solo band, I would do interviews with guys and they would be such drooling idiots that I would just make stuff up. But KJ Knight, great man, incredible soulful drumming talent from Detroit, a dear friend of mine, KJ Knight. He was the drummer with the Amboy Dukes on Survival of the Fittest, and he was just a great man. But he did those things that I mentioned in High Times magazine. He did soil himself, and he did different things to get out of the draft. There's 2 points to be made here. I went and did my physical, and I was Bruce Lee. I could hurdle Volkswagens. I mean, literally, I could take a running jump over a beetle. I went in and passed my physical with flying colors, but I was at the Oakland Community College that year, and I got a 1Y. They go, Nugent got a 4F. 4F! I was like this athletic animal. I couldn't get a 4F. I was the essence of athleticism and health. I got a 1Y on my draft card. That's not a deferment. That's a category, because I was enrolled at the Oakland Community College. I never did any of those things. Those were the things that KJ Knight did. And because I'm doing an interview with High Times magazine, which is all about being uncomfortably dumb, that I shared the KJ Knight story with the writer, and that became gospel for the left, who don't have anything to attack me for. Actually, they do, but they've never focused on them. They only focus on the lies that I'm a racist. I'm not. I had an affair with Courtney Love. I did not. I dissed the Native American. Never did. I dodged the draft. Did not. Pooped my pants to get out of the draft. Never happened. And they cling to it maniacally because they got nothing. So I'm here to tell you, I did nothing in 1969 to avoid the draft. Now, the most important point, Keith, if I had been educated about the military-industrial congressional complex, and I would have discovered that the Vietnam War was an illegal, immoral war, I would have dodged the draft. I would have gone, what's the great boxer's name? I would have gone
Muhammad Ali.
I would have gone Muhammad Ali if I had been educated to the immorality and the scourge and the curse and the evil of the military-industrial complex. It's actually the military-industrial congressional complex, because the government enriches themselves because their mantra is war is good. Eisenhower, leaving office in 1953, said that the biggest threat to America is the military-industrial congressional complex and the CIA. But being a graduate of the American anti-education system, I had no idea that Vietnam was an immoral war. It was an immoral war, and if people would have been educated properly, we would have defied the draft, because young men should not go into battle to enrich corrupt, greedy, evil government punks.
You know, you talk about the military industrial congressional complex. I'm sure you saw in the news this week, Mike Pence is talking about sending American boys and girls over to the Ukraine to die. Lindsey Graham is all for a boots on the ground war there, apparently. And again, these are Republicans. You heard Nikki Haley on the debate stage. We need to chip shove for the Ukraine, and she's all for war over there, apparently. This is scary times, Ted, that here we are again. Deja vu from 1969, deja vu from Iraq, deja vu from Afghanistan. And here we have it again. They want to continue to spend money in the Ukraine, and now they're talking about Americans dying there.
Keith, these are the times of tears of blood. Young Americans, military, law enforcement, please take a deep breath. You are obliged by your sacred constitutional oath to defy immoral orders. You are obliged by your very conscience and your soul to defy anybody who gives you an oath-violating, immoral, illegal order. We have got to get through to the military heroes that training is one thing, discipline is essential, but when it turns into brainwashing and they equip you to go to foreign wars that we have no right, no morality to be involved in, you have got to defy them. Will you be court-martialed? Maybe. Will you have to face disciplinary actions in jail? Maybe. But it's time for young Americans, whether law enforcement or military, when you're told to raid Roger Stone's home before dawn and alert CNN to film it, you've got to look at your commander and your boss and go, I can't do that. I will not comply. Vietnam was an illegal war. I believe the Gulf War was an illegal war. Look at all these poor heroes with no arms, no legs, and no skin to enrich the military-industrial congressional complex. And your points about Nikki Haley and these other monsters in our government that are getting rich by war, we can't keep doing this. I got to tell you, Keith, I never allowed my hard-earned tax dollars to go to murder innocent children through Planned Parenthood. I never authorized my hard-earned tax dollars to give the Taliban billions of dollars of my military equipment. I never gave the government authorization for my hard-earned tax dollars to go pay for this horrible Zelensky implanted comedian, the Ukraine, to fight a war to protect the Biden gangster family. We are at a crossroads in America right now where war is evil when it's an immoral war. And right now, the Ukraine is Vietnam. We've got to get the hell out of there. And the only guy who is going to make it right will be Donald J. Trump. Please, everybody, you've got to go to hunternation.org. HunterNation.org. It's on the screen. Tell everybody you know. We need to circle the conservative voting wagons in America, and we need to elect Donald J. Trump as the only qualified commander-in-chief that will make America great, safe, secure, and rich again. He's the only guy. We have got to get this guy to be president in 2024, or we are a suburb of Venezuela, and it's an embarrassing time where our entire government is untrustworthy, greedy, corrupt, immoral, and illegal. The government of the United States is a crime family, and we've got to reverse it, and Donald J. Trump is the only guy that can do it.
Now, tomorrow I want to talk about flags. There's a teaser. We'll get into that tomorrow. But before we do, I want to wrap up the week so far. Did you diss the Native Americans?
Never. I love the Native Americans.
Did you poop your pants and do those other things to avoid the draft?
Never did anything to avoid the draft.
Did you ever have sex of any kind with Courtney Love?
Impossible.
Did you strike that, as an attorney would say? Did you just cut that, Tim? Did another mother sign their daughter over to you and you adopt an underage girl for the purpose of sex?
Never happened.
Well, Ted, hold it up for me. You talked about not complying. Go to tednugent.com and buy one of these and let everyone that you know that you will not comply. tednugent.com. Ted, see you tomorrow night.
I love the nightly news. Truth, logic, and common sense turns me on. And by the way, thank you, everybody, and happy hunting season 23. It's going to be the best ever.